Good morning and welcome to Rising. We have a perfectly adequate show for you today. We're neutral about it.
Well, actually, can I do something? Because my daughter said, can you please say hi, Kinsley, to me?
Oh, go ahead.
So hi, Kinsley.
Hi, Kinsley. I'll say hello as well.
She really requested that. I couldn't do it last night. I was on the panel on the Hill on News Nation.
You didn't want to hijack.
I was like, that's not my show. Yeah, I'm not going to hijack the panel. But in this case, I knew Robby would be nice about it.
Always happy to do that. Happy to accommodate.
Okay, coming up on Rising, we'll, of course, discuss the government shutdown that inevitably happened and the president's beef with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries that stemmed from an AI video.
Plus, Elon Musk says that he's building an alternative to Wikipedia over what he says is the platform's left-leaning bias.
And Hollywood actors and organizations are sounding the alarm over a new competitor. That's an AI actress named Tilly Norwood. But first, of course, Robby, what's on your radar?
Happy to get to it. Well, Teachers Union President Randi Weingarten is back on the media circuit, promoting her new book, which is called Why Fascists Fear Teachers. While she steadfastly maintains that her book is not classifying any specific person as a fascist, it's pretty clear she's talking about people who disagree with her politically or who disagree with the agenda of the teachers' unions. In other words, she's talking about me, and maybe she's talking about you. Weingarten does appear to believe that the American education system is under fascist occupation. She's even wearing a paperclip. Watch this.
I mean, there is a reason why Putin said that wars are won by teachers. There is a reason why in Norway, when the Nazis took over Norway, that's why I'm wearing this paperclip. I wear two things now. The American flag, nobody can take patriotism away from me, and a paperclip. What did the teachers in Norway do when there was the Nazi occupation? They started wearing paperclips. Kids started wearing paperclips. Why? To bind people together as community. Education is power. Education is knowledge. Education overcomes the culture wars.
I thought we all agreed that our political rhetoric was getting too unhinged, too overheated, too emotional, too exaggerated, and that it might be making desperate people do bad things. And now you're telling me that the nation's top educator wrote a book implicitly referring to her opponents as fascists? Maybe the sequel should be called Why Everyone Who Disagrees with Me is Hitler. Perhaps Weingarten is just trying to distract from the fact that many, many Americans are profoundly dissatisfied with the state of public education in this country, not because teachers have too little power, but because the union that represents them is doing us all harm. Indeed, there's no single figure more responsible for keeping schools closed during COVID for so long than Randi Weingarten. The teachers' unions were the main driver, the main political force engaged in the work of pressuring relevant authorities and lawmakers to keep schools closed until we had reached COVID-0. They'd still be closed. Those people had their way. But now Weingarten doesn't want to blame the education crisis in American schools on that fateful decision to keep schools closed. She thinks plummeting test scores are the result of smartphones. Watch what she said later in that interview.
I think we all have to figure out how to make schools a priority if, God forbid, there's another pandemic. But this started 10 years before that. And what is happening is our biggest competitor are the phones, are social media. And what I think we have to do is four things, four words. We have to create schools so that they are safe and welcoming. And we have to compete with social media and with the attention for kids by having project-based instruction like we do in terms of career tech ed.
Now look, I'm happy to talk about updating the kinds of instruction that take place in schools, whether project-based learning is better for some kids, whether new technology can be better incorporated. And yes, of course, kids should not be using their smartphones while they're supposed to be paying attention in class. That's such a no-brainer, get the distraction devices out of the classroom, that it's cold comfort to me that school leaders have taken 10 years to realize it. Shouldn't you have told the kids they have to leave their phones in their lockers on like day 2 of these things being everywhere? But I digress. The real issue is that Weingarten is portraying herself and the teachers that she represents as the opposition faction during an attempted fascist takeover of the U.S. education system. But this just isn't the lived experience of most Americans. The teachers' union is the #1 most powerful, most relevant decision maker here. Their fingerprints are all over these failing policies. That doesn't make them fascists, of course. It makes Randi Weingarten responsible for the mess we're dealing with now. I don't know if fascists fear teachers, but I do know that families shouldn't fear teachers' unions. The solution is not to direct more funding, more resources, and more power to the likes of Randi Weingarten. The solution is school choice, more options for parents so that families can make decisions that best fit their own children.
So we talked about this several times. I don't like the overuse of any words. Fascist, comparing people to Hitler.
Fascist.
Yeah, everything is, and you know it happens on both sides. We pointed out examples. Even former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called Randi Weingarten, I looked this up in 2022, the most dangerous person in the world. There's been an ongoing beef with her and everyone.
The most dangerous person
I know,
in the
it's
world.
so, like, come on. Well, so
Pretty negative actor in our politics, in my view.
Okay, fine. It's oversimplifying and dramatic. I think she pointed out in her book that, and because she said she wasn't talking about anyone, we have to go with her word. It's her book. She pointed out that traditionally fascists have attacked education systems, banned books, prevented people from learning in order to try to get their goal across historically. So if she's not talking about our specific country and her specific role, she's talking about what could happen if we were in that type of dictatorship. Mm-hmm. She didn't name drop President Trump in the book. Her book highlights teachers throughout the country. There's so many things about it that set examples of public education and how it's working, because I know the overwhelming conversation is how it's failing, but there are tons of kids doing well in our schools. I mean, obviously we can do better. And we should do better. There's always room to do better.
We spend more money, their test scores go down. We give the teachers union more power, the test scores go down. We have less choice and control over our our kids' educational options, the test scores go down.
Her point is
Why
that,
is that the test scores
her
go
point
down?
is, and I think her point for this book is that deleting history is not helpful for our students to be dumb about what happened historically, so that we don't repeat it. And if we base it off of, let's say, let's say we base it off somebody who's not President Trump, but similar ideas about the way our history should be presented in a more positive light, well, that would be problematic for people who really need to understand the impacts of some of the egregious things that our country did, as well as the beautiful things that make us America. And it's important to have both conversations and not just knock books out of school because they don't sit with you well, or because they're too negative, or because they show a same-sex relationship that has nothing to do with sex. Actually,
we're
just
taking
people
books out of
together.
the
There's
schools
several layers to why she's saying this. No, we went through the segment before, went through all the books, and some of them I agree with you do need to go. But some of them that was a kid passing by the street, seeing a couple together, like that was like the incidents in the book. It's like they can't acknowledge that they're not going to go down. But no, there was a list of them, and I went to read each book, and I was like, wait, this one can stay. Okay, I can see the argument there for this one.
Well, okay, but this is the brilliance of my plan, school choice. You could just send your kid to a school that has the exact books in the library that you think is appropriate, and so because we're never going to agree. What you think is right and appropriate for your kid, I might not think is right and appropriate for my kid, and that's fine. And rather than us having some toxic fight over which the uniform standard it has to be, why can't you just say the money the government collects to educate us, well, I give it to you, and then you get your kid into whatever school you think is best for them, and you like the library and whatever other program you have, that works best for you, and Lindsay can do it differently, and Randi Weingarten can do it differently, and we can all be different, rather than I like this one, and I don't like this one. That seems stupid to me.
Well, I think in an ideal world, everyone would learn true history, things that actually happened, and then that would make for better people because they would understand. Disagree about what actually, facts have to be facts at some point, right? So yes, if you want to take out some of the books, I said I can agree with you there that have to do with sexuality, we can have a longer conversation, but history, if it happened, even if you think it's too negative, it's important that kids know it. Depending on which part of the curriculum and where, we can discuss, oh, that's better for 3rd grade, oh, that's better for 8th grade, but you don't take it out because it's too egregious if it actually happened.
We're not going to agree, so the best way is to just let you do it your way and me do it my way by having more options.
And there's another thing, she did address COVID. She said it fundamentally changed the relationship between schools and communities, so she understands that was a dramatic point for all people. She didn't just completely ignore it in the book. So
that was a big whoopsie on her part. Whoopsie.
She wouldn't have kept the schools closed till right now. That's an extreme over-exaggeration.
That was her position. You don't like COVID zero.
Okay, not zero, but
no, she literally said that.
I know, but we would have been here now, and it's pretty much we're in the clear for the most part compared
COVID
to where we were during the
That's
pandemic.
my point. COVID will always still exist, and anyway. Next up, President Trump is announcing a deal with Pfizer that he says will lead to discounted drug prices for all Americans. More on that next. We'll be right back.